Hiya! So, today's topic on my to-do list is synchronicity versus confirmation bias. Alrighty, so I first of all suggest that you go and watch this short clip from an episode of Kath and Kim. Kath and Kim is a brilliant Australian Netflix series that I found on Netflix with my ex, actually. Yeah, I just fell in love with it. It was created by Gina Riley, a Taurus sun, and Jane Turner, a Sagittarius sun. Personally, I really adore their dry and hilarious writing and the earth come fire aesthetic of the whole show. And also, I just think they're great examples of like the Taurus and Sagittarian archetype coming together and gelling. You know, the compatibility of Taurus and Sagittarius, right? Anywho, the clip in question is from one of their episodes titled Gay, and, you know, confuzzled by the prospect of her daughter, Kim, potentially being a lesbian, Kath heads outside to, I quote, go inside, search my chasms for meanings. And, you know, I absolutely love this scene and could watch it for ages. It illustrates the ridiculous and deluded things we can sometimes do to force meaning onto absolutely anything and everything that we might come across. And, you know, being a Sagittarius rising, I'm well versed when it comes to doing this, when it comes to forcing sometimes meaning on everything and everyone. When sometimes things just are what they are, or you're just trying to do that thing of forcing. First of all, synchronicity is a word often batted around by tarot readers, psychics, and the whole sort of pantheon of spiritualists. And to me, it just means multiple things falling together at just the right time, at which point something feels right. And it may also be things that come in quick succession, one after the other, confirming and reiterating some feeling. You get that very Ace of Base, I saw the sign sort of confirmation, and it's the perfect meeting of your thought or feeling or hunch or whatever with signs in the external world to let you know that you're on the right track somehow. And according to Carl Jung's definition, synchronicity is a bunch of, I quote, meaningful coincidences which occur with no casual relationship, yet seem to be meaningfully related. A la Lauryn Hill, everything is everything. You know, I do believe that astrology is everything. And when people dismiss astrology as being, oh, it's just a coincidence, you know, that astrological observation is just a coincidence, it's just personality, it's just a coincidence, they are literally missing the point. And they're probably, you know, a fixed sign or fixed energy heavy, but that's not today's video. Confirmation bias, then, to me, is trying to force, again, this word force, meaning onto your feeling or your thought by consciously searching for signs in the external. So it's much more conscious and it's much more deliberate, and it's different to synchronicity because it doesn't feel unconscious or just naturally right. It feels desperate, or your feeling or thought has you kind of lost rather than comfortably found. With confirmation bias, you take minutes, maybe even longer than minutes, trying to find exactly the right numerological sign, or the right tarot archetype, or the right stereotypical symbol. And it doesn't feel natural, and certainly doesn't click all together in a perfect moment. Like, have you ever seen synchronized swimming? It doesn't do that. It's kind of like you're trying to fuss and fumble around the water until something works. No, that's not synchronicity. One official definition of confirmation bias, and this is from Wikipedia, I quote, is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that affirms one's prior beliefs or hypotheses, end quote. And, you know, spiritually speaking, you may well be overly clinging to feelings and thoughts based on some confirmation, some confirmation bias that you recall, excuse me, still recovering from this fucking cold, that you may recall Spiritually speaking, you may well be overly clinging to feelings and thoughts based on some confirmation bias you recall whenever feeling insecure or not yourself or not following what I call your right way and so on. And you may well feel that it's forced or someone or something else rather than an authentic experience or knowing. And one example to differentiate the two might be simply, try being alone with yourself, alone with your feelings and your thoughts in a quiet space without any person or music or distractions, and to do that for a very significant stretch of time to the point where you reach knowing yourself really. You know your own real actual thoughts, your own real actual feelings. Then compare that to following some specific arbitrary meditational practice that someone told you to do, and so you do it, but you know or you feel deep down that it's not working for you, yet you continue doing it. You're meditating with a capital M, but you're not meditating. You may well be blindly following someone or something because something capital S spiritual is confirmed for you, but it's not spiritually speaking to you. Synchronicities can happen both when your spirit is highly experiencing and you're getting all the cheering on that you need from the universe. And they can also happen when you really need to read those signs to avoid danger, for example, or to get away from spiritual suffocation. And it's really difficult because in our daily life, we always, as soon as we meet some other person, we're always trying to match their vibe or meet their frequency. And that often involves a lot of feeling spiritually stifled or suffocated. And again, if you have any Sag heavy stuff in your chart, you'll know this feeling of like, I just want to run away, fly away, be free from this shitty conversation or this shitty vibe. Like you just want to get away from it all. And it can kind of feel like that when it comes to your spirit in general. So I know it's hard for all of us because we're always constantly trying to match other people and other things and be also in the mundane and on earth and down to earth and all that jazz. But these synchronicities can also happen when we actually need to read signs to get out of danger, to actually escape. Sometimes we actually do need to escape, actually do need to run away. And your spirit doesn't lie. I remember one day when I was feeling elated and my full authentic self, and the skies were sunny and blue. It's my favorite kind of sky, and I was walking around like a happy giddy horse, and my ascendant was pointing me along the right way, and I just kept seeing images of horses one after the other, on advertisements, on buses, on cars, and then even like real police horses came trotting by, and I saw lots of orange as well, orange cars, orange clothes on other people, and this is my color. And whenever I'm in this space, I also notice that there are loads of youngsters and children on their scooters and bikes pulling wheelies and having a grand old time as they zoom along about their day. For everyone it's different, but you will know when you're being affirmed, and it will all happen at once. And another time, this is a bit darker, but another time I was contacting this guy on the gay dating app called Grindr, and this was a day when I ignored all the signs not to meet him. And first off, the weather was horrible, and it was very dark and scary and wet, and I tried to find his house, but kept getting lost. And my phone data had also just run out, and I didn't have his number to continue contacting. But anyway, I continued trying to find his place, and I was running late as well, really late. And even when I got to his house, I could see him in an upstairs window, seemingly getting psyched up for something, but there was also this violent energy coming off him. That's the only way I could describe it, but a violent kind of energy. Still, I knocked on his front door, and he didn't hear me the first time. He didn't come down the first time, and I actually waited a while, and then I even knocked 2 or 3 more times, and the light upstairs eventually did go off, and he came down, opening the front door, but it was he sort of looked at me, and I guess he thought that I was some sort of no-show for being so late without contact. But even then, I was still okay to step inside his house for this hookup. But the moment I did, I knew that he was one of these guys who was married to a woman, he had kids, and most likely, you know, he was in the proverbial closet. Anyway, it was a horrible sexual experience, and it did become non-consensual at one point, but, you know, I'm still ashamed to say that I could not get myself out even then of that space. I felt abysmal all the way home, and like didn't have sex with anyone for months after that. And I actually saw this guy again one day getting out of a car, and he like looked at me, and I felt at first a sort of darkness sweep over. But then I also at that time by then was much closer to my spirit, and so I was strong that time, and I looked him right in the eye, and this kind of thing will never happen to me again, and I know it won't happen to me again, and spiritually won't let it happen to me again, because I had to, you know, my spirit forced me to experience that, because I was ignoring all the signs, I was ignoring all the instincts. So yeah, that's a couple of examples of when to pay attention to the signs, baby, and for the good, bad, or ugly. And that's kind of just my little take on synchronicity versus confirmation bias. Thank you as always for requesting videos. If you have any video request ideas, please do put them in the comments or message me. You can follow me on Instagram at queerhinny, send me a DM if you want. I am working my way through that list, and then I'll get onto some new series that I've got planned. But yeah, how about you? What are the synchronicities significant to you personally? And do you have any like stories of when the signs confirmed something for you so perfectly? Or perhaps a story about when you should have read the signs, but you didn't. Okay, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, thumbs up, and all that jazz if you like what I do. See you next time, and have a lovely Friday free day. Mwah.